Well, today we're tackling an issue at the intersection of the economic crisis and the healthcare crisis caused by COVID. Medical debt. New Labor Department numbers show more than 20 million workers were collecting unemployment benefits at the end of November. And with many people losing health insurance, it's more likely that one major medical event could put their financial future in jeopardy. Already in this country, more than 1 in 4 adults report either struggling to pay medical bills or they're living with someone who has. But for some of them, salvation is coming from an unlikely place. ABC's Terry Moran shows us how churches and former debt collectors are stepping up to fill the void.
Annapolis pastor Kenny Camacho has long believed our nation's healthcare system is broken. Years ago, on the heels of a costly cancer scare in his family, his infant daughter fell off the changing table.
We drove around the hospital for a few hours, just in a circle, watching her.
He says the fear of more debt kept him from going into the hospital.
That feeling of being invisible and incapable of taking care of my family has stuck with me. That's not how our lives in this country should be. To not be able to take care of ourselves out of fear of what it's going to cost and whether we can afford the long-term consequence. And so I think about that often. It stuck with me as an experience with the brokenness of all of this.
Donna Dees of Atlanta knows the crushing feeling of medical debt, too.
If you have something like an ICU bill that's, crazy money.
Diabetes-related issues landed her in the ICU twice. It was a tough time. Her sister died. Her father died. She lost her job.
My health is messed up. My job is gone. My sister's gone. My dad is gone.
And the medical bills were one more burden.
And the bills were just big and huge, and you paid them when you could, or you paid on them when you could, or you just prayed that it didn't, affect you extremely negatively, knowing that it did, and to some extent.
But then, out of the blue, she got a letter informing her the debt was forgiven.
We looked at it, and we were like, this is some scam thing. Why are they messing with folk like this?
But it was real. Donna's debt was paid off through a group called RIP Medical.
How specifically do you select the people who will receive the assistance?
The beauty of it for us is that it's blind. So there's no judgment here on our part.
Allison Sesso is the group's executive director. She says RIP has forgiven more than $3 billion worth of medical debt.
You have to be 200% of poverty or below. So we're not helping people who are well off. We're helping people who really need the help the most.
On the debt collection market, those debts owed by low-income people are the least valuable because they are the least likely ever to be paid off. Two former debt collectors, Craig Antico and Jerry Ashton, had the idea to buy those debts in bulk for a fraction of their value and then forgive them.
Every dollar actually absolves $100 worth of medical debt for people.
It was just this thing, this blessing that just appeared in the mailbox and from nowhere, and it just took care of it.
It's a miracle of sorts. What does it tell you about people that this happened?
Oh, it didn't really tell me anything. It just confirmed that I know that there are good people out there.
RIP's donors have included...
So are you ready to do this?
TV host John Oliver.
It's done!
And more than 400 church congregations, large and small, around the country.
Where do you find this in the Bible, medical debt?
I think giving people a taste of freedom and forgiveness is the mission of the church.
Pastor Kenny Camacho says his congregation has wiped out RIP's debt portfolio for 14 counties in Maryland, and they're now partnering with other churches to raise enough money to wipe out the debt for the entire state.
We're not a particularly wealthy congregation, we're not a particularly large congregation, but we're committed, I think, as a group to trying to help our neighbors.
It's empowering for people at a moment where we feel so stunted as a nation in a lot of ways.
While Allison Sesso says she's grateful for churches, she wishes government leaders could also see the moral obligation here.
I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, I really am inspired by what RIP does every single day. But at the same time, I'm appalled that we have to exist.
It's great work, but why is it up to you guys?
That's a hard question to answer. I want it to be different. My prayer is still that something will change.
Until the high cost to survive in this country is addressed, Pastor Kenny is making sure those in need don't have to carry that cross alone. For The Breakdown, I'm Terry Moran.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.